Hello from London, it's Gareth here and it's Thoughts on Thursday. Today's topic is introverts and extroverts. Who are the better language learners? First of all, I just want to think a bit about the terms introvert and extrovert. We all know them in popular parlance, of course. The extrovert is the life and soul of the party. The introvert as the shy, inward-looking person. I'm an introvert myself, I think, and we often use shyness and introversion, I think, without thinking whether there might be a difference between them. The more I've looked into this, the more I've read that there's actually a physical basis to extroversion and introversion. They can have a more scientific meaning. And what it seems to boil down to, and I'm sure I'm oversimplifying here, but is levels of stimulation in different parts of the brain. So that the extrovert is someone with lower levels of stimulation in some parts of the brain, the cortex, I think, and you go out to seek more stimulation. You're focused on the group, on social interaction. You get a bit uneasy and anxious even if you're alone too long. The introvert, on the other hand, is maybe already naturally very highly stimulated, and it's quite exciting enough as it is already, thank you very much, and that person can feel drained and overwhelmed by too much social interaction. I think I'm in that group myself. I often joke that I can get excited enough just sitting in a darkened room with a paper bag over my head, to be honest. So there's a biological basis there for introversion and extroversion. I think we've got to distinguish them between two other things. On the one hand, self-esteem, and on the other hand, shyness. Self-esteem is really about how you feel about yourself, whether you feel good or bad about yourself, and following on from that, about other people. And you can be an introvert or an extrovert with high or low self-esteem. So that's a different thing. Similarly with shyness, it's not just the same as being introverted, it's about the sort of levels of fear you have maybe of interacting with other people. Not whether you basically want to do a lot of that. You can be a very confident, socially, together introvert, but you don't actually need and you don't want that much interaction, and so you don't interact through choice so much. You can be an extrovert who is shy, who would actually like much more contact than they're actually getting. It's a different thing, shyness from introversion and extroversion. But who's got the upper hand when it comes to language learning then? And are there other factors that are maybe more important? Our Western societies seem to value extroverts. We like personalities, we like sort of team players who get out there, perhaps. In language learning too, the emphasis is maybe on speaking. A lot of us in the, self-taught, autodidact language community say get out there and speak to people. Or we advocate classes, again, group interaction. These will be things that seem to advantage extroverts. But on the other hand, of course, if you want to do a lot of study and you're perhaps less likely to get bored so quickly, introvert qualities could also have you in good stead as a language learner. I've looked into some of the writings on this, and it seems really that the jury's out. If we're using introversion and extroversion in these narrow, more biological senses, remembering, of course, there's a spectrum with maybe the ambiverts in the middle, who are sort of, medium levels of stimulation, and remembering, of course, that there's a lot which unites us, and maybe the similarities are greater than the differences in many ways. It seems that maybe introversion and extroversion are not, at the end of the day, that decisive in determining our success as language learners. Maybe there are other qualities in our personality, how our personalities are made up, that are more important, like attitude, which maybe is linked up to esteem, whether we're inquisitive or not, whether we notice things, and our ability just to persist, to keep going, to form good language habits, which are maybe more important. That said, it doesn't mean that this introversion-extroversion distinction, narrowly and precisely understood, isn't of relevance to us as language learning, because it does mean that there are different approaches we can take, determined by, whether we're a people person or whether we prefer to spend more time on our own in reflection. And there are also disadvantages of both, which we can learn to compensate for in our language learning. So that's what I want to go on and look at in the next couple of videos in this little series on introversion and extroversion. Looking at the extrovert language learner and then at the introvert language learner. So stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done already. Hit that like button and see you next time. Sampai jumpa.